Welcome to Morning Devotion with Ken Gurley. Devotions designed to inspire you on your daily walk with God. Here's your host, Ken Gurley.
Okay, folks, we're getting closer and closer and closer to the end of this thing. Oh, my. I can't believe it. We're finally getting here. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Morning Devotion. We've hung out together all year long in some of the craziest times, the greatest social upheavals of our generation, and hopefully the next generation too. Yes, amen. Thank you for making this a part of your morning and joining in with us and saying we're going to see some good things happen. So this Wednesday, December 30, 2020, I do want to welcome you here. I've got an important question for you today. Do you have a second family? Now, I'm not talking about anything clandestine and wrong, but if I've learned anything in life, is you and I need a team around us to make life happen, that we can't do it alone. It was a number of years ago that I read where T.D. Jakes said there are three types of friends. There are constituents. They are with you so long as you are going where they're going. They're into you only so far as what benefits themselves. They're constituents. The second type of friend is a comrade. They are with you because you are against what they are against. And when the battle is over, so too is your friendship. You just got to always stay fighting. Oh, have you ever had friends like that? Then you've got confidants. These are people who are around you because they're into you. They buy into you as a person. They stand by you, with you, whether you're up or down, whether you're happy or sad, whether it's victory or defeat. They are the confidants for the good times, for the lean times. They're not fair weather friends. They're the ones that you can ride a rapid with. We've got many constituents. We have a few comrades, but we have very few confidants. I can't imagine saying goodbye to 2020 without taking the time. And I'm going to share with you something so practical today. I want to talk to you about building your life team. Yeah. Can I go through that with you today? It's one of the things I'm leaving 2020 with is the building blocks of my own life team. And I want to help you find yours. So like the page, share the page, follow the page, check in out the side because we need community and we need it now. Pachymenes was an Egyptian soldier converted to Christianity in 315 AD. At the time, devotion was expressed in withdrawing from the corruption of society. Disciples were taught self-denial. They lived solitary lives, and so that's what he did until he began to question the method. How can you learn to love if no one's around? How can you learn humility in living alone? How can you learn kindness or gentleness or goodness in isolation? How do you learn patience unless somebody just gets on your nerves? Yeah. In short, he concluded, developing spiritual fruit requires us being around people, ordinary people, ornery people. To save souls, he wrote, you must bring them together. So he began a different form of fellowship, of a monastic life, an ascetic koinonia, a fellowship, a community. Instead of a person finding God in their own way, he said it's better if we do it together. Now that's largely forgotten in church history. It largely forgotten because it's still, you say, well, we don't do the monastery thing and all that. Well, when you think about it, there is a solitary pursuit right now of individuals. They're pursuing their own thing, going their own way, and it's just as disciplined and monastic as those monasteries in years gone by. We need community. You need a second family. You need a life team. What is a life team? It's an intentionally selected group of people who do life with you in the future. And the main focus of the group is not sympathy. It's not to cry on each other's shoulders, although there may be some of that. The focus is growth, transferring relational nutrients one to another, resulting in each person on the team being healthy, personal, relational, spiritual, having a strong emotional life. That's what it is. It's a life team. That's a life team. It's not, well, Pastor, I've got my golfing buddies. This is not about golfing. I've got my fishing buddies. It's not about fishing. Got my hunting buddies. No, it's not about that. Well, we get together and play games. We just have a big old time. No, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about finding a group of people that you see eye to eye and heart to heart with, and that you will covenant one with another and say, let's grow. I want to be a better me. You can help me be a better me. Who should be on your team? People who know you, people who love you. Your life team is basically the highest and best set of friendships that you have. They're not usually your family of origin. They're usually found, though, in the family of God. This second family, this family of God, it serves a vital role, a vital purpose. They complete the work left unfinished by your family of origin. They bring safety, security. They provide structure and self-discipline. They give voice to your inner longings. They help you build the boundaries and hedges in your life. And they show each other that failures are understood, accepted, and there's a refrain from judging. They'll give confidence. They'll be wind beneath your wings. They'll help you find mission and vision in life. How important is this group in your life? It is very important. When someone told Jesus his mother and his brothers were waiting outside to speak with him, Jesus asked, who is my mother? Who are my brothers? And he pointed to his disciples and said, here are my mother and my brothers. For whoever does the will of God is my brother, sister, and mother. In other words, Jesus elevated the idea of a second family concept. Your second family is your life team. The people who are into you, the people who you are into, not the group that's your projects. You're always working on people. No, these are people that iron sharpens iron. They strengthen you. I want to talk about that second family, or that life team, what it looks like. And if you want to just jot down a few notes, first of all, the size. I think 3 people to 10 people. Probably the ideal range. Too few people, you don't have enough variety and strengths that you need to grow. Too many people, you don't have time to form stronger relationships. So 3 to 10. Spouse, your spouse should be on your life team. So if you're married, your second family should consist of couples, perhaps, people who get along. But what should I look for? What should I look for? I think, first of all, is shared essential values. Amos 3:3, can 2 walk together except they be agreed? You have to care what you care about. You have to share your beliefs about life itself. There will be differences on various straight points, but on the big rocks, on the core and center of beliefs and values, there is sameness. Why do I say this? Because if they're going to strengthen you and you are going to strengthen them, then you've got to have some of the same raw material, the same bedrock principles that are needed. The second thing you'll need is a commitment to growth. I think this is what separates the life team from all other the groups, because a life team doesn't exist for any other reason than for growth. For growth. You've come together to commit to growth, to grow in specific areas. And so there's a lot of good people out there who enjoy having fun. There's a lot of good people who are ready to throw down and have a party. A lot of good people who are ready to get out and paint the town blue, but they're not really committed to growth. This second family, this life team, it's all about personal growth. What does it look like? Well, for example, the team may tackle a certain book. Each meeting touches on an aspect of that book. Hold each other accountable to all they're taking in. The third thing you need is a stance of four, a four stance. I just really can't overemphasize that. If you're stepping into your second family, you don't need any snide, snarky, passive aggressive people always harping on things. No, they need to be for you, just as you're for them. We are for each other. The old Three Musketeers, one for all for one. It doesn't work any other way. You're going to find that you have a lot of acquaintances in your life that are really very critical. They're just critical. Now, I'm not mean critical in a good sense of analysis. I'm just saying critical, and they love to find fault, and they love to point and jab, and you're going to find that, and you'll be tempted to put them on your life team just because you've been friends with them so long. But that critical nature has so now defined them, they can't help it. They just got to point out people's flaws, and you can't have somebody like that on your life team, because if they're not even willing to grow beyond that childish, amateur habit, then they can't go to the place that you want to go. And everybody will have their guard up. For this to work, there's got to be a knowledge that if I come to you and I'm struggling, I'm wrestling with something, you're for me. Vulnerable. That's the fourth quality. When we let down our guard, when we open up the negatives in our lives, then we get the strength we need. It's ironic that our vulnerabilities are the most important things we have to share, but we find them the most difficult to share. Vulnerabilities, like mistakes and struggles, weaknesses, and things that we just realize we got to grow in these areas. Emotions, unhealed hurts from the past. But when we're vulnerable to our life team, we gain the nutrients of affirmation, validation, encouragement, understanding, and we desperately need that. Now, that doesn't mean you're going to have a bunch of touchy-feely people on your team, but you're going to have people that are for you, so much so that they encourage you to drop the mask and get real. And when that safety is there, and when you know you've got people pulling for you, great things will happen. The fifth quality of a life team is truthfulness. You've heard me say that the lasting change comes with grace plus truth over time. That's how lasting change takes place. Solomon said, faithful are the wounds of a friend. Somebody cared enough about you. Someone is so for you that they can say, hey, you need a truth check here. I've looked back at relationships through the years, and I see how many of those relationships were work or cause related, but outside of the work of the cause, we had little in common. Or worse yet, there were truths that should have been spoken, but they weren't spoken in time to save any form of relationship. And deep rifts appeared, and the chasms grew too large to bridge. You need the ability to be truthful. Number 6, the sixth quality of your life team is togetherness. Each and every person on the life team is second family. We're in it together. We bring our wins and losses to the meeting. We transfer strength, relational nutrients back and forth as needed. Sometimes one person facilitates the meeting, another time somebody else does. Sometimes there's really no real agenda, just seasons of sharing and strengthening. Can I give you one more quality? And it's important. It is very important. Number 7, availability. This group should meet at least monthly. It's about the right time distance. But for it to work, everybody's got to commit to make it happen. You've got to block it off. It's got to be prioritized, calendarized, committed to, because life will get busy. But to make time for this group, these are the ones who will give you the fuel to go into a new year. What does the meeting look like? Well, a typical meeting usually happens monthly, no more often than bi-weekly, is that when you gather with your second family, your life team, 90 minutes is a good length. It's a good time. It can include in prayer, passage of Scripture. Time for each person just to tag in. If it's a spouse group, you may want to let the guys go one place, the girls go another, and talk about successes, struggles, failures. Yeah. Let me get down in the weeds on this just a couple of minutes. But I want to help you realize why you need to find this second family, this life team. I'm going to use a phrase here that you may not use, but I think you're going to understand the phrase. You see, one of the powers of the second family, this life team, is that in its togetherness, you're more capable of tackling harder goals. So the first thing you do in any meeting is review your stretch goals. That's the phrase, stretch goals. Each person on the team has stretch goals. Here's who I want to stretch to become. And would you hold me accountable? You do your check-in, walk through the highs and lows. Each person identifies what they're struggling with and accomplishing their goals, or any other area. Any content, I don't know, a lesson, a video, a live speaker, something highly interactive and relevant though. And then chairs in a circle, talk, believe, dream, mourn, affirm, validate, discuss challenges, and at the end of the session, allow the ahas to appear. Those things that we realize God just spoke to me. Brother Gurley, I'd love to have a team like this. I'd love to have a second family like this. How do I find these kind of people? I'm guessing you know them and they know you. Go through contacts, come up with 20 names or so. Once you have your potentials, pick 3 who stand out. Reach out to each of them. Invite them to coffee, lunch, say you want to catch up with them. And then tell them that you're on a personal growth quest. You want to become the best you that you can be. Talk about the struggles you've had in that. Watch their reaction. See if they're interested. If they are interested, then tell them, say, I want to form a small group. Just a small group, maybe 5 or 6 of us who get together. We just strengthen one another so that we can grow and become the people that we need to be. Can I tell you a secret? They will nearly jump over that table to say yes. Why? Because we all know we need a life team. We got to have this second family. And we're struggling because of the lack of it in our lives. 2020 is fading fast, and none too quickly, I might add. But as it fades, and we realize how isolated we've been from one another, how separated, how social distant, the tendency when the restraints are lifted is we all hit the road. We run here, we run there. We do this, we do that. Oh man, I'm so glad to get out and be able to do things again. But if you today could act intentionally and fashion a second family, a life team, you're going to find that this new year will begin to unfold so much more beautifully. I love that. Every Thursday during a Young Life summer camp, 400 students make the 14,000-foot climb up to Colorado's Mount Chrysolite. Several Young Life leaders will walk with the students. On one of those trips, a young man named Matthew decided to just call it quits. Leader coaxed him, begged him, negotiated a plan, 30 steps of walking, 60 seconds of resting. And finally, they stood within 1,000 feet of the peak, but the last stretch of the trail rose up as straight as a fireman's ladder. And they got serious. 2 guys came up on each side of Matt. Each one took an arm, and the leader was pushing from the rear. They all dragged Matt past the timberline into the awesome view at the top. When they got there, that's when they heard the applause. 400 campers on the crest of Mount Chrysolite gave Matt a standing ovation. There it is, saints of God. A perfect picture of God's plan. Do all you can to push each other to the top. You need a second family. If you'd like, I can share with you some resources on how to build this life team. I urge you to start building your life team. 2021 is going to go so much better. All right, folks, one more day. Look forward to seeing you tomorrow, and may the Lord be with you, and may God bless you.
Thank you for listening to Morning Devotion with Ken Gurley. Join us next time for another inspiring devotion. To support this ministry, please visit firstchurch.com/.